Hello guys, welcome to another exciting edition of the Leadership for Growth and Development TV show. I am your host, Odibola. Our guest on the show today is a very young, energetic, and influential business personality in Nigeria. He is the CEO of one of the fastest growing real estate development companies in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, join me welcome on set Mr. Bolaji Oshobukola, the CEO of the Odibola Properties Nigeria Limited. Thank you, Mr. Bolaji, for having us come do this interview at your place. It's indeed an honor for us. Thank you very much. We appreciate this.
You're welcome.
So, for the benefit of our guests, our audience, those who will have been hearing a lot about the Odibola brand, and then knowing that your brand, Odibola Properties, is one of the fastest growing real estate development companies in Nigeria, can they get to know you, the brain behind this brand?
Well, my name is Bolaji Oshobukola. I am a full-time Port Harcourt boy, born and bred in Port Harcourt. You know, a lot of people don't know that part of me. I actually attended my primary school in Port Harcourt, my secondary education in Port Harcourt, and my primary school, Olonada precisely, and Okoronodo, precisely for my secondary school. And I went further to attend UST where I obtained my BSc in accounting. And apart from being the CEO of Odibola, many people don't also know I'm a professional photographer.
Oh, wow.
So all this combined, that is what makes the Odibola you're seeing, you know. So it's not just the property. I'm actually a professional photographer. I own one of the best photography outfits in Lagos called FaceTime Pictures.
Wow.
Yes, thank you.
Wow. So at what point did you decide to get into real estate, development?
Well, having done photography for some years and seeing the opportunity in River State, the openings for real estate, about 10 years ago, I decided to venture into the real estate industry, starting from Port Harcourt. One problem people have when it comes to real estate is the fear of not falling into the hand of fraudsters. So we stand out in doing proper due diligence and ensuring people get problem-free properties, which has also helped us, and giving us that brand name among those in River State and beyond.
Now, real estate development is something that in itself is not so, it's a growing concern in River State, as it were. Nigeria, yes, we have very large companies, which your brand is also one of them, competing in that space. But what are some of the challenges that you faced, in having to set up your brand and growing it to where it is today?
Well, one of the major challenges in real estate industry is not just the financial challenges where you don't have the opportunity to get a loan that can aid your business. Aside that, you have the challenges of the locals in the areas you are developing who come in different form and different ways in order to get some levies, and at times, most times when you finish acquisition, you see them coming to give you some problem as regards your acquisition. And that aside, we have the biggest challenge, which has to do with government infrastructure in most of the areas that we are developing. Where there are infrastructure made available by the government, it makes development fast. Because if you want to provide low housing or you want to provide landed property that will attract the populace to go and invest in such area, they should have some level of infrastructure.
Yeah.
They should have the road infrastructure, they should have the electrical infrastructure, and they should also have things like the police post that can encourage them, knowing that there is security in the area they are going. So this poses a lot of challenge in the areas we are actually concentrating in River State, which is the greater Port Harcourt axis, So if that is handled, I think it will really speeding up the development process in River State. more especially in those rural areas.
Now, these are challenges that somehow, in spite of them, your brand has continued to grow, to make inroads. So, some of these infrastructures are not right now there in place. What have you done to ensure that that does not limit your brand?
Well, like you always know that Odibola is one of the company that does not really like excuses. You know, we have a formidable team which will sit down to strategize to see how we can bring forth new things that can aid our product or our land sales in River State. So one of the things we've been able to put in place is to ensure that the areas we go to put our properties or area we go to get our properties, we try to do the little we can, like the fence infrastructure, and see how within the estate we'll bring in lights for electricity for those who are investing, so that they can have that mindset that within a short while they can actually build and stay in such an environment. So over time, we try to strategize, sit down with my team to see what we can do to ensure that we don't just wait for the government, but we are doing our own best to ensure that people actually acquire this property and go to those areas and see how they can settle down, which is the major aim of any developer. And that is part of our focus, yeah.
Wow. You see, you mentioned that you work with your team.
Yes.
And with all that has happened within this 10-year period, the growth of your brand, it simply would translate that you have a formidable team. Because the challenges, as it were, posed by the environment, by government's inefficiency, in itself is huge. How do you keep this team motivated to ensure that they continue to deliver the promise of the brand?
Well, when you have a team that is formidable and committed to your brand, more especially to the brand, because it's not our brand, because they are team and I'm just the team leader. Now, if you have such team, you have a lot of ways to encourage them. We don't just encourage them alone by the trip, we send them abroad to have fun. You know, we also encourage them by also giving them opportunity to invest in these properties we sell, and give them a lot of discount and opportunity for them to pay with a long time period. And apart from that, we have some other incentives we use in encouraging our team, which I can't say all in this platform, because those form parts of our own secret, you know, to encourage the team for productivity.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So you're saying that apart from them making sales, promoting the brand's product, they also have opportunities of owning these properties themselves.
Yes, many of the team members have their properties already with Odibola. And like I said, apart from sending them abroad, like one or two
What's
just
the
came.
purpose of sending them abroad aside from? Is there any other thing attached to it?
Well, like you know, traveling exposes you to a lot of new things. The likes of Dubai today is a country that is full with different kinds of infrastructure that can help your creativity as a real estate developer. So we want them to go and see the beauty of the world, so that they can, you know, in the strategic meetings, they can always give in suggestion that measure up with the world and the development that is happening around the world. We don't want them to be myopic in their thinking and process. So we try to make them see the world, the beauty of the world, what they can do with real estate, so that whenever we sit down to talk, you have a picture of what you're talking about.
Informed
Yes, and an
decision
informed
making.
decision making, yes.
Oh, that's indeed interesting. Now let us talk about the problems we are facing as a country. The economy of Nigeria is in shambles currently, and this is a market where you are, you know, competing in alongside other real estate development brands. Inflation is on the rise. The income for households is declining. How have you been able to deal with that in spite of this? You know, your brand seems to still be making inroads, attracting investors. How have you been able to do this?
Well, looking at what is happening with the economy, we will have no. The difficulty is also hitting us hard, because you need people to have a proper source of income for them to patronize the real estate sector. So when the economy is heated, is surely going to affect us. And that is why we are also, diversifying into apartments to ensure that apart from the real estate business, we also have the Airbnb aspect of our business that encourage travelers who are coming into the town and cities to see a very conducive place to relax. This is what we do to keep the business afloat, hoping that when the government picks up, we will not have any reason not to be part of what is happening. So for now, we also give people opportunity to have the access to landed property by giving them a long period of time to make payment to cushion the effect of the economic hardship that they are going through, because housing is very important. Like, Nigeria is one of about the 7th most populated countries in the world and number 1 in Africa, and the housing deficit is about 17 to 20 million ratio, you understand. So we do a lot to ensure that we cover this gap, or we fill in this gap by giving people low-income earners who have that zeal to own a landed property the opportunity to do an instrumental plan over time. So that cushion the effect they get from the economic downturn. So that is what we do to encourage them to.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Bolaji. At this time, we'll go for a short commercial break. And when we return, we'll talk more.
Thank you very much.
Are you looking for a classic lodge while you're on the move, or a place to stay when you're far from home, or perhaps you're coming into town and you're looking for hospitable, safe and homely accommodation, one with exciting deluxe scenery? Then look no further. Treasure Court Apartments gives you a blend of comfort, luxury and class in a warm, welcoming and safe environment. It is a well-furnished apartment with world-class finishing, featured with everything that makes a home warm, friendly, cozy and leaving you with beautiful memories and moments. Treasure Apartment comes with an outdoor swimming pool, a beautiful ambience, an armed security guard, 24/7 power supply, internet access, snooker, table tennis, and so on. Located at Sam Wobo Street off Sunny Abacha Road behind House on the Rock Church in GRA Port Harcourt. For more information, visit our website at www.odibolaproperties.com. For bookings and reservations, call Gloria at 0913-8888-892 or visit us at Odibola House at Inyeweli in Sirim Layout, Tombia Extension, GRA Phase 3 in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Treasure Courts Apartment, home at last.
Welcome back. Remember, our guest on the show today is the CEO of Nigeria's fastest growing real estate development brand, Mr. Bolaji Oshobukola. All right, Mr. Bolaji, you are an accountant by training. Now, how has this impacted your business?
Well, when it comes to my profession, imparting my business as an accountant, one thing you will know is that accountants are always thorough. And if you come to look at Odibola books and our organizational standard, you will know that we're very thorough. We don't actually practice cut and nail. We keep to every standard, And as an accountant, one of the things I've also achieved in running the Odibola properties is that you have to manage the way you spend the expenditure and see how you can cut unnecessary costs, wastage. And apart from me being an accountant, the MD is also an accountant.
Oh, wow.
So we are running an organization that abhors wastage and ensure that the little resources we are making in the company goes into critical infrastructural development and property development for the people and our team and clients. Yeah.
Wow, lovely. Now, your business currently, let's deal more with Odibola properties. Now, what segment of the populace are you trying to satisfy? Who are your demographics?
Well, looking at the real estate industry in Rivers State, you understand that if you choose a particular set of people, it will be, should I say, not too okay for us, because the industry is growing It's not like other states where you can choose a particular area in development. For us, we are reaching out to all segments, all levels, low income earners, middle class, and high class. And that is the reason we have all kinds of properties. We have our development in GRA. We have our development in the Obirikere houses. We have our development in Ikere local government. We give people the opportunity to decide what they want based on what is available. So you can put yourself in any of that class. You have something around us.
Is this the same strategy that is applicable in Lagos, where you're also making so much inroads?
Well, the Lagos market is actually different from the Port Harcourt market, and that is the reality. So the strategy must be different because the government policy when it comes to real estate is totally different. So our policy, our strategy in River State is different from our strategy in Lagos. It's different from our strategy in Abuja. And in case you don't know, we also have our company registered last year in UK. You know, so we're also putting one or two together to see that we kickstart fully in UK to run our business too.
So from what you have just said, based on your registration in the UK and all that, it simply means that Odibola can actually be referred to now as a global brand.
Yes, Odibola can actually be referred to as a global brand because that's one of our vision, to go global in order to give solutions in real estate, not just in Nigeria alone, but in some parts of the world. Even if we cannot cover all parts of the world, but our plan is that we go to places like the US, the UK, and some European countries to see how we can provide solution to the real estate company. And that is why you see we try to be careful the way we are doing the business so that we will not cut corners. And at the end of the day, have issues when we start going to these places where laws, rules, and regulation is followed to the end and to the letter. Yeah,
that's indeed also.
Yes.
Now, your brand, Odibola Properties, is headquartered in River State.
Yes,
Our
headquarters is in River State because Odibola started in River State. And you can see we are investing much in River State.
Yeah, that's very true.
The reason is that you can't have your headquarters here and you're going to do your major investment outside the state.
That's true.
You can see our first building terraces in River State, how it looks like it's top notch. You know, there is nothing to compare in terms of development in River State.
And that's the reason I want to ask this. On your own, you're taking the real estate development a top notch, a step higher. You were creating a standard that all the real estate developments would be like, wow, we need to catch up with these guys. Now the point is, beyond Odibola, what is your vision for the real estate development in River State?
Well, when it comes to the real estate development in River State beyond Odibola, we are also looking at the smart housing and see how we can give people value. You know, one thing I've seen in River State is that people develop for developing sake. They don't give value. And building should be a legacy. You know, something that will outlive you shouldn't be handled anyhow. So in Odibola, we are creating such standard that others can follow. We are in the forefront to ensure that we provide housing that can stand the test of time and stand as a legacy to ensure that people have value for their money and property that can have that structural standard. Yes, so that is what we are trying to do.
Now we know that in spite of these things that you are doing, and maybe others, there are still challenges that borders on critical infrastructure. You know, how would you advise government, or what do you think the government can do to help the business or help the environment so that businesses in this your field can thrive?
You know, when it comes to real estate, you cannot take the government out of it because government play a whole lot of roles when it comes to real estate development. Let's take the Lagos State, for instance. You see the government going to rural area, creating infrastructure, opening new places, putting one or two government parastatals, you know, creating new cities. so that people can go to those areas and live and do business. So in Rivers State, we encourage the government to go to places that are not, because there are a lot of land in Rivers State. But even most of the developers, you can see what they do is get the empty land, sell the empty land, and leave it the way they met it. So let the government go to areas like the Ikore local government where they have landmass to do infrastructure in most of the local government communities to ensure that developers goes there, create things for people to come and occupy. So we need infrastructure, we need road infrastructure, we need electrical infrastructure, we need, like I said earlier, we need the police security in those areas. We need drainages. We need government presence in these communities. Government will not do all, but when they create this thing, developers are given the opportunity. They go there, they create good housing, people come to stay, people do business, because there will be markets, there will be shopping malls. And at the end of the day, you've just created a city out of a community. And that is why one of our layouts, we are naming it City Side Layout. Wow. Because our plan and our pursuit in that layout is to ensure that people stay in their Magwan houses and enjoy everything that they can see in a normal city.
Oh. So you have spoken lovely advice in the government, making us understand that the government plays a major role in creating the enabling environment for real estate developers to thrive and create properties that the people, the citizenry, can occupy and not just live, but live happily. So what other plans or visions does the Odibola Properties have? Like, can we poke your brain, to get to know what you guys are up to?
Well, like I said earlier, as regards the Odibola plans or future plans, I told you about the city side layout, which is located in a densely populated area in Omagwa, where we are trying to create a city. We want people to understand that they can live, work, and do anything they want to do in these areas. And apart from that, we are trying to build smart homes. We just finished the Treasure Court apartment, about 11 terraces that's fully finished, with swimming pool and every other thing that can make life easy and comfortable for any individual who love taste and standard. Now we're going further to do a smart home, 11 terraces smart home. That will be coming with the swimming pool too. It will have the gym. It will have fully automated.
What do you mean by smart home, so that we can understand you properly?
Yeah, when you talk about smart home, when you say something is smart, that means the thing can respond faster with less work or less activity effort. Yeah, the smart home give you the opportunity to use voice command to control most everything in your house. And that is what we are going into right now. We have 11 terraces. We call it the Elite Courts. We want to see Rivers State competing with every other major state in Nigeria, like Lagos and Abuja, where you have these things. We want people to understand that Rivers State is the third most important state as far as this country is concerned. So we are not just doing development, we are doing development that will bring out the state, promote the state, knowing that, like I said earlier, that I'm a full-time Port Harcourt boy, promoting my state is paramount to me. So we are bringing those houses you are seeing anywhere in the world, like Dubai's. You see them in UK, you see them in US, you see them any part of the world. Those are the things we are bringing to Rivers State. Anyone who have the privilege to be here with us to see what we've done in the Treasure Court, we know that we are not just talking as developers, but we are talking what we can actually actualize, because we've tested it, we've achieved it, and we are trying to commercialize it to ensure that people enjoy it.
Wow, this is indeed awesome. So I am very sure our listeners and a lot of people would want to know what inspires you. You have a whole lot, your mindset is very different in spite of the fact that you grew up and were brought out here. You think faster than the local rivers of Nigerian economy as it speaks. What inspires you? Who are your role models?
Well, when it comes to who inspires me or my role models, you look at Engineer G.C. Okoroma, who happens to be my mentor, a man that has done excellently well when it comes to infrastructural development. He is the chairman of Gambetta Group, a construction company, and I've seen him a whole lot of times creating things, from the scratch, and his kind of creativity is second to none. And you also know that he is the past president of consulting engineering in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
So he's someone that have inspired me a lot, and apart from him, I also draw my inspiration from the likes of Dangote, who in a short while has changed a lot of things in the country. Like, you happen to know that he's into real estate too.
Oh.
Yes, he's into real estate, he's into a lot of things. And you look the likes of Odibola too, who are doing great things. So you can achieve a lot of things in this country. And these people don't have double head.
Should they be threatened that one Bolaji Oshobukola would one day become the richest man? Like because they are your mentors. You look at them. Should they be threatened that you may become one of the richest men in the country?
Well, I don't think they should be threatened, because everyone you're looking up to also pray you do better than them. Because they will go and will continue. And other people will come to look up to us. And we'll also teach them what they can do to be better than us. Because in course of your growth, you make certain mistake that may not be corrected in course of your growth. But if you have corrected them from the foundation, you know that you would have been catapulted more than the way you are. So such we are going to advise those who are coming up, looking up to us.
And that's exactly what I want to ask you.
Yes.
What advice? Now, there are so many young Nigerians out there who daily think of, who want to become entrepreneurs, because certainly there are no jobs, as it were, in the economy. But creatives are springing up every day. But now there are lots of roadblocks, some due to lack of finance to drive their projects. And some of them become not just disillusioned, some of them become overwhelmed with, the negativity around them, especially with regards to the economy. How would you advise them? What would you have for that?
Well, I was privileged to be part of panelists in the River State Youth Summit, where they have the likes of Toyin Cole, Okechinda, and others who were panelists. And one of the major things I advise the youth is that they should get rid of the entitlement mentality and strive for excellence, because most of the people you see that are making waves today actually came from a poor background, and they have refused to give themselves any excuse why they should fail. And everyone trying to go into entrepreneur, you should also understand that these are not get rich quick thing. You must be ready to sacrifice. You must be ready to discipline yourself, because a life of entrepreneur is a lonely life, because you have to think the next level the company is going. You don't do that in a crowded environment. You don't do that being in the club always. You don't do that sitting down with people drinking always. So everyone trying to become an entrepreneur, the youth trying to become an entrepreneur, should understand that they have to prepare their mind to understand that these things don't just happen. Like, I started as a photographer. Not just as a photographer, I sold wine, not just selling wine. I also helped people to do other businesses just to survive. And all those experiences put together, has a lot to do with the real estate thing I'm doing today. You don't just grow from high. You grow from the bottom. And at the end of the day, I would say that they should have a goal, a focus, and something that they are pursuing, so that they cannot be distracted. When you have that mindset, you will understand that everything you are doing, you have to build it from scratch to the level it will be. It will take time. But if you are consistent, if you are dedicated, if you have an integrity, if you are focused, if you have a laid down vision, you will surely get there. Yes.
This is indeed lovely. Now, we as Nigerians are approaching a very critical state in our national development. We are approaching the next electionary cycle, where we'll be choosing our leaders at different strata. I'm not concerned about your political affiliations, but how would you advise Nigerians? What would you advise Nigerians? Because the decisions we'll take will either may or mar us. It could even affect our environment. What advice would you give to Nigerians going forward into the next election?
Well, you know, one of the things the politicians have succeeded in doing in Nigeria is to impoverish the people so that they can always have access to them. And I will tell Nigerians that any politician that comes to give you money for you to vote them, they are actually part of the problem. Because the purpose of them keeping you impoverished is not because the country is not rich enough. It's so that they can always have access and manipulate you. So if you're wise, if you're smart, you're going to look at a politician that your conscience must have told you that this one can deliver. Because we all know that one politician that can deliver. We look at people's antecedents. We look at people's past record. We look at people's past promises, you know. So it's not something anybody should say he doesn't know, he made a mistake. So 2023 is not time for anybody to come and give an excuse why a particular leader that you know cannot really give you the dividends of democracy should come in. Look at what is happening in the country. You know, business are dying. A lot of things are happening. The present blame the past. The past blame the other. So the blame game is too much. We should, as a youth, understand that this country is our future. If you like, you run to anywhere, you'll just be a second-class citizen. I prefer to be a first-class citizen than a second-class citizen. And that is why people like us don't have any plan to leave the country for any reason. So what we'll do in 2023, take your PVC, go to the booth, put your thumb for the right person, despite whatever situation. Don't look at the monetary inducement. Vote your conscience and help us to change Nigerian. You know, I don't really like talking about politics because one of the most dangerous thing in Nigeria as a businessman is to dive into politics. Your business can be crushed, anything can happen to you. You know, that is why I'm not really interested, but I'm interested in who is going to lead us, because the leading or the leadership will have a lot to do with my business. It's either my business continues or it crashes based on the kind of leader we choose. So choose a leader that understands the terrain of Nigerians, the problem of Nigerians, not the ones that theoretically will tell you they understand, and when they get there, they change. Choose those that have a track record for good development, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bolaji. It was indeed an awesome time with you. We hope to do this again some other time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.